Okay, so one of the big things that we want to run through real quick is hormones. So a lot of people have been talking about, oh, well, steroids do this and steroids do that and blah, blah, blah. The big thing is that, first of all, let's classify what a steroid is. A steroid is a class of chemicals. So estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, testosterone, those are all steroids. So by talking about, people being on steroids, the vast majority of women are on steroids because they're taking estrogen-based birth control. Estrogen is catabolic. It's not really great. You want to kind of monitor where that is. It has fantastic things in very specific reasons for women, not so much for men. You want to control that one as much as you want, as you can. Keep it low. There's lots of cancer things involved, around estrogen replacement therapy and stuff like that. So you got to watch the amount of estrogens that are in your body. They create all sorts of problems. There's all sorts of other estrogen mimicking hormones or chemicals that are out. Atrazine is a big one. BPA is a big one. They're big all around. The big thing is we talked about, some of the things that I work on: ulcerative colitis, MS, celiac, IBS, dementia. There's all sorts of things. I can't get most of those things to resolve without using testosterone. Testosterone is the healing hormone. It is what your body uses to repair and regenerate all tissue. Bone density issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia is a lack of testosterone problem. We've known forever that osteoporosis, the osteoblasts, the little cells that make more bone, they respond to testosterone alone. Osteoclasts, the ones that break bone down, will listen to estrogen and won't break bone down as fast. And so they're like, that's what you should use. No, we should use testosterone. So, it's erectile dysfunction, it's depression, it's anxiety, it's metabolic function, it's brain function, it's sleep, it's everything in the body heals, regenerates, and repairs because of testosterone. So the question comes up, well, why has it gotten such a bad rap? Why does everybody hate it? Well, in the 80s, George W. Bush pushed forward something called DARE. And its entire intents and purposes was to bastardize, slander, and say horrible things about cannabis, testosterone, and psilocybin and psychedelics. I have no evidence of this, but I personally believe that he was let's just say, convinced by pharmaceutical companies to do this for them. And you say, well, why would they do that? Pharmaceutical companies are 100% interested in our health and our health alone. They have no interest in money, just in our health and well-being. That might not, as it pans out, might not be 100% accurate. So if you look at just testosterone, and you say, well, if you don't have testosterone, what do you need? You're going to need osteoporosis drugs. You're going to need drugs for anxiety, drugs for depression. You're going to need drugs for bone loss. You're going to need, muscle loss or atelectasis. You're going to need things for energy. You're going to need things for erectile issues, which, by the way, testosterone is fantastic for erectile dysfunction, but the clitoris and the penis are the same tissue embryonically. So guess what happens? When women get their testosterone levels up where they're supposed to be, 150 to 250, the blood flow and nerve function goes back to the clitoris, engorging it, giving much stronger, much easier, much better orgasms. So FYI, it's phenomenal for both men and women to take testosterone. It's hypercritical to health for both men and women to take it. So if you take testosterone, which is not a very expensive drug, you can get it a lot of different places. This eliminates a host of other drugs that you would then need to become healthy or just have no symptoms. So that's one of the things. Cannabis, obviously, I've talked about how you can replace opioids with it, and it's fantastic for PTSD and fantastic for anxiety. Psilocybin has been proven to be unbelievably safe, and one of the major cures and treatments for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. However, you can grow psilocybin in your garage for $200, and that's all you're going to have. So obviously, you can't make money off of selling psilocybin from a pharmaceutical standpoint, so it had to go away. Tons of research on it was done in the 60s and 70s before it was made illegal. Fantastic stuff. So again, testosterone's gotten this horrible, terrible rap. People call it unnatural to take testosterone. Your body makes testosterone. How much more natural could you get? That's absurd. You have testosterone receptors on every organ, every part of your body. Every tissue in your body has testosterone receptors because it's so hypercritical. The idea of calling it unnatural is silly. It's massive propaganda, unbelievable propaganda. Now, there are some that are synthetically made. So, for instance, and I'll just throw this one out. So right now, people ask me how much I'm taking and that type of stuff. I'm roughly about 300 milligrams of cypionate a week and about 100 milligrams of DECA a week, nandrolone decanate. DECA, so the way I view it is it's natural if that's what the receptor site's asking for. So in a testosterone receptor, if you give it testosterone, and I'm fine with the esters, the cypionate and anthate propionate, if that's what the receptor is asking for and you give it to it, that's natural. So the 300 milligrams of cypionate I consider natural, just like I consider taking B vitamins or hormone D3 or any other nutrients that I'm taking. If that's what the body specifically is asking for, it's a natural thing. Now, the DECA, the nandrolone decanate I am taking, is synthetic and is not natural. But I love it because it really helps with joint pain. It helps with joint function. It helps with all sorts of different things. It's pretty anabolic, but it is very, very, very steady and very easy. We know all the side effects. Everything's really chill with it. It was first used to battle atelectasis, which is muscle wasting, and cancer and AIDS patients. And we've seen unbelievably fantastic results for giving this stuff to cancer patients. Cancer is another thing that we really want to start to beef up the testosterone for so your body can heal. There has been zero evidence ever that testosterone increased a cancer or made it worse. So that's one of those things. People say, well, it's bad for X, Y, and Z. Show me the research. The research I have shows that high levels of testosterone, super physiological, so above normal, actually eats cholesterol plaquing out of your arteries. The actual definition, if you want to look it up, would be that super physiological levels of testosterone increase cholesterol exudates from macrophage. So that was the title of the research article. I'm going to post that one as well. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots of evidence that normal to high levels of testosterone are substantially healthier for you than low testosterone. In fact, there is no research I have read that shows low levels of testosterone is healthy for anybody. So when I talk about I'm trying to do the bodybuilding thing, I'm trying to do this as healthy and as natural as possible, that's what we're talking about. So I will grant you the DECA is not natural and probably not 100% needed. And even the levels that I'm at, I apply the testosterone levels to my same 120% rule, which is I figure out what I think 100% what my needs are, and then I give myself a little bit of a cushion in case I need extra that day that I wasn't planning on. I don't apply that to the DECA though. We talked with Kuklo and some of those guys, and they were giving us the levels that some of those coaches were pushing, and 300 milligrams was nothing. Like I've got guys who just to maintain normal function are at 225, 230, 250 milligrams a week. So it's not a giant amount. For those of you who don't know, is 300 milligrams a lot? There's some with undecanate where they're giving 1,000 milligrams. This is just for medical treatment, 1,000 milligrams, but they do it once a month. I'm doing 300 a week, or they do it once every 2 weeks. So the way I'm doing mine, I'm splitting it up into 3 different injections throughout the week, so I can keep that highest natural normal level going without having these big swings. It's the big swings that I'm worried about. Now, quick things with testosterone. I talk about this all the time. You guys can, I've made 50 videos on testosterone. You guys can go look them up. But big things you got to worry about are you got to look for your H&H coming out, which is your hemoglobin hematocrit levels. So testosterone can increase the amount of red blood cells you guys produce, which is actually awesome to a certain point. So it's kind of like this parabolic curve, right? Because the more hemoglobin hematocrit you have, the more oxygen you can carry. And so it's good, it's better, it's questionable. And then once you get to a certain point of H&H, it becomes bad because now your blood gets too thick and the viscosity of a fluid increases hydrostatic pressure, or it increases your blood pressure. So you got to watch that. You don't want to see increased pressure on your blood vessels in the heart to become a problem. So you just draw your blood every couple months. If it gets high, you donate, save 3 lives, everybody's happy. There's conversion to DHT, which is wildly anabolic, which is fantastic, but it also we think it damages the prostate, and it definitely damages the hairline. I don't have to worry about hairline issues. So, in fact, I'd prefer it if all the rest of my hair fell out, wouldn't have to shave it anymore. But so that's one of those things. Those levels are going to be high. Like you can pull DHT levels in labs. If you're a woman or you're a guy who's worried about your hairline, they're not that hard to block. They're not that hard to monitor and deal with. It also converts to estrogen, which is why you use aromatase inhibitors to keep it from converting over. And that's a big piece. anastrozole, there's a number of them. Anastrozole is the one we use the most. And that keeps your estrogen levels low. I like to keep estrogen levels in men below 40. With women, I want no hot flashes, night sweats, or vaginal dryness. Outside of that, I like those levels pretty low because, again, I'm worried about cancer. So that's a little bit brief overview. Everybody's wondering about it. I'm also taking Simorelin and Hormone as peptides. The great thing about those is that when you take them as peptides, your body still has the check and balance system in it. So you almost can't take too much. So you can take whatever you want. Your body will regulate it, regulate the amount that you produce, because peptides basically convince your body to naturally produce more. So the peptides convince my anterior pituitary to produce more growth hormone than it was normally going to. But if we get to a certain level, the somatostatin will still come in and be like, you can't produce more than this level. And so that's the check and balance, is the somatostatin, that check and balance thing we're looking at. So if you're going to do peptides, make sure you're working with somebody who knows what they're doing. The things are super powerful. They're awesome. They work really well. There's a safety profile. It's really good with the right ones, injecting them properly, using them at the right time, in conjunction with other supplementation. They're fantastic. You got to use them right. So, get with somebody. Most of your docs are not going to understand peptides. It's a new thing. It requires a lot of reading, a lot of chemistry, and most docs are just not going to do the homework to get them done right. But they're fantastic if you want to use them. I'm also using melatonin now, so I can darken my skin. Everyone kept telling me, like, dude, you're super white. Like, darken that skin up, get some tan. So we're going to throw some melatonin in there and darken that up. Be very careful with that one if you don't know what you're doing with it. It can be tricky. But anyway, so that's where the hormones are. That's kind of where that stuff is. We're going to talk about that a lot more. Ask guys all your questions you want to, and we'll kind of knock this stuff out. It's super critical for health. Get your levels checked. You don't have to work with me. Get with somebody who knows what they're doing. I would recommend at least 2 injections a week for men and for women, because that keeps the levels more accurate, more stable, because testosterone is a 7-day half-life. So a lot of people who take an injection on Monday, if you take 10 units on Monday, by next Monday, 1 week, 7 days later, you're at about 5 units. So depending on ester function, that's more or less what we're looking at average for testosterone. So that's why a lot of guys who take a shot on Monday, by Sunday, they're like, man, I feel it. I'm dragging. I don't feel as good as I used to. Like, I don't know, but man, Monday and Tuesday, I feel awesome. Okay, split your dose up and take it twice a week. Work with somebody on that one, because it's not exactly half. You want to go about 55% twice a week, and that'll keep you where you want to be. But that's some of the big stuff. Testosterone is such a hypercritical thing for health and wellness. The fact that we get so much pushback on it just shows the power that, pharma and these guys have to keep you guys in the dark and keep the misinformation going. So you guys have any questions? Ask away. We got something we're going to answer tomorrow. It'll be fun. And then questions at chalmerswellness.com. We'll get it all knocked out. You guys have a good day. Thanks.